Almost everyone who eats eggs every morning does it in roughly the same sequence. Coffee first, eggs somewhere in the middle, maybe toast alongside. The eggs get eaten. The day starts. Nobody thinks twice about the order. But here is the part that changes everything once you understand it. The sequence of what you eat and when you eat it in the morning does not only determine how you feel for the next few hours. It determines how much of what is inside those eggs your body is actually able to extract and use. And the difference between optimal timing and the timing most people follow without thinking is not marginal. It is measurable, it is meaningful, and it operates through 4 separate biological mechanisms that most people have never heard explained. The first mechanism is the cortisol window. In the 30 to 45 minutes after waking, cortisol levels spike by somewhere between 38 and 75%, one of the sharpest hormonal shifts in the entire 24-hour cycle. Cortisol in the morning is not something to suppress. It is how the body mobilizes energy, activates the immune system, and prepares every organ for the demands of the day ahead. But cortisol also does something that directly affects protein absorption. It promotes what researchers call muscle protein breakdown and gluconeogenesis, the conversion of amino acids into glucose to fuel the elevated energy demands of the awakening system. When eggs arrive during the peak of that cortisol spike, a portion of the protein being digested gets redirected toward glucose production rather than tissue building. The amino acids from the eggs are being partially burned as fuel for the cortisol response rather than directed toward the muscle protein synthesis and repair that most people are eating eggs to support. Waiting until the cortisol awakening response has peaked and begun its natural decline, typically 45 to 90 minutes after waking, means the eggs are arriving into a hormonal environment where protein is better directed toward building rather than burning. The second mechanism is the digestive readiness window. The pancreas, liver, and gallbladder all operate on circadian rhythms, with peak digestive enzyme output and bile flow occurring in the morning and early afternoon. What this means in practice is that the digestive machinery is most capable of breaking down protein efficiently during the morning hours, but only after it has been properly activated. The stomach wakes from its overnight rest in a state of high acid concentration, suppressed mucus production from the overnight cortisol baseline, and minimal peristaltic activity. The single most effective way to prepare the digestive system to extract maximum value from eggs is to drink warm water first. 1 to 2 glasses of warm water before anything else triggers mucus production in the stomach lining, activates peristalsis, rehydrates the digestive enzymes that require water as their operating medium, and dilutes the most concentrated surface layer of fasting gastric acid. This preparation phase takes roughly 3 to 5 minutes and has a measurable effect on how efficiently the subsequent meal is processed. The water essentially switches the digestive system from overnight maintenance mode into active processing mode before the eggs arrive. The third mechanism involves leucine threshold timing and what researchers call the anabolic window. Inside each egg yolk is a meaningful amount of an amino acid called leucine, which functions as the ignition key for the muscle protein synthesis pathway. Leucine binds to a signaling protein called mTOR inside muscle cells and triggers the construction cascade that builds and repairs muscle tissue. There is a threshold that leucine must reach in the bloodstream to fully switch on this pathway, and that threshold is influenced by insulin sensitivity, which is at its daily peak in the morning hours after an overnight fast. When eggs arrive at the right moment in the morning, after the cortisol spike has begun declining, after warm water has activated the digestive system, and before insulin sensitivity has begun its midday decline, the leucine from those eggs hits a bloodstream and a set of muscle receptors that are maximally prepared to respond to it. The same 2 eggs eaten at noon, after insulin sensitivity has dropped and the peak digestive enzyme window has passed, produce a meaningfully smaller leucine-triggered synthesis response. The timing does not change the amount of leucine in the egg. It changes the efficiency with which that leucine completes its job. The fourth mechanism is the fiber buffer effect, first documented by researcher David Jenkins at the University of Toronto, the same scientist who created the glycemic index. What Jenkins found is that the composition of the first substantial meal of the day affects how the body handles carbohydrates and nutrients at the second meal, hours later. Specifically, soluble fiber consumed at breakfast slows gastric emptying and creates a more gradual absorption curve that extends into the metabolic response at lunch. For eggs specifically, this means that pairing them with a source of soluble fiber, whole oats, chia seeds, or a piece of whole fruit, does not just improve the breakfast itself. It extends the window of optimal amino acid absorption from the eggs by slowing the speed at which everything moves through the upper digestive tract. Faster gastric emptying, which happens when eggs are eaten alone or alongside simple carbohydrates without fiber, reduces the contact time between the egg protein and the digestive enzymes working to break it down. A fiber buffer slows that transit, giving the enzymes more time to complete their work before the partially digested material moves downstream. Put these four mechanisms together, and the optimal morning egg sequence becomes clear from first principles rather than arbitrary rules. Wake up. Water first, 1 to 2 glasses, warm, before coffee and before food. This activates the digestive system, restores the stomach's protective mucus layer, and rehydrates the enzymatic machinery. Wait 30 to 45 minutes, ideally longer if the schedule permits, allowing the cortisol awakening response to peak and begin declining naturally. Then eat. Eggs alongside something that provides soluble fiber, consumed in the window when insulin sensitivity is highest, digestive enzyme output is near its daily peak, and the cortisol-driven protein redirection pressure is decreasing. Coffee, if desired, with the food rather than before it. The presence of protein and fat from the eggs changes how the acids in coffee interact with the stomach lining and significantly reduces the gastric stress that comes from caffeine on an empty fasting stomach. Most people do this in the exact reverse order. Coffee immediately upon waking, before anything else, amplifying the cortisol spike with a second cortisol stimulus, and adding an acidic beverage to an already maximally acid fasting stomach, with a suppressed protective lining and no food to buffer it. Eggs somewhere in the middle of that disrupted environment, without warm water preceding them, without fiber alongside them, often eaten quickly while attending to other morning demands before the digestive system has had the chance to properly activate. The eggs still get digested, the body still extracts amino acids, but the efficiency with which that extraction happens, and the precision with which those amino acids get directed toward the biological targets that matter most, is meaningfully lower than it would be with a different sequence. The reason this matters more than most people realize is that the margin being lost is not trivial over time. If the protein utilization efficiency from 2 eggs drops from the whole egg average of approximately 48% to something noticeably lower because of poor digestive preparation and cortisol-driven amino acid diversion, that gap compounds across every morning that the suboptimal sequence is repeated. For most people, this means most mornings. For people over 50 dealing with anabolic resistance, where the threshold for triggering muscle protein synthesis is already higher and the margin for inefficiency is already smaller, the timing difference becomes even more meaningful because the window for getting things right is narrower to begin with. There is a fifth layer to this picture that connects egg timing directly to the gut microbiome, and it is the piece that most people have never connected to how they eat breakfast. The roughly 38 trillion microbial organisms living in the large intestine have been fasting since dinner the night before. They are running on reserves by morning, and the composition of the first meal they receive shapes what happens to the entire gut ecosystem for the rest of that day. When eggs arrive alongside fiber, and specifically the prebiotic soluble fiber found in whole oats, chia seeds, or certain fruits, the fiber reaches the large intestine and provides fermentation substrate for the beneficial bacteria that produce butyrate, propionate, and acetate. These short-chain fatty acids fuel the cells lining the colon, regulate inflammation, and contribute to the stable blood sugar and sustained energy that most people are trying to achieve through coffee and willpower. When eggs arrive without fiber, or alongside simple carbohydrates like toast made from refined flour or sugary breakfast cereals, the wrong populations get fed. Sugar-preferring and inflammation-promoting bacteria receive a substrate that benefits them, while the fiber-fermenting beneficial species get nothing. The microbiome is not a passive system that accepts whatever arrives. It is an active community that responds to what it is fed, and the morning feeding sets the ecological direction for the hours that follow. The serotonin dimension adds another layer that connects egg timing to mood and cognitive function in a way most people never expect. Approximately 90 to 95% of the body's total serotonin is produced in the gut, not the brain. specifically in cells called enterochromaffin cells that line the interior of the digestive tract. The activity of these cells and the serotonin they produce is directly influenced by the health and composition of the gut microbiome. When the microbiome receives the right morning feeding, fiber that supports the beneficial species, protein that provides the tryptophan that serotonin is manufactured from, and a probiotic or fermented element that directly introduces live beneficial organisms, the serotonin-producing ecosystem gets what it needs at the exact moment it is most ready to use it. The quality of cognitive function and mood across the hours that follow is not entirely independent of what was eaten and when it was eaten in the morning. The gut-brain axis connecting these two systems via the vagus nerve is active and bidirectional, meaning what happens in the gut after breakfast is communicating upward to influence brain chemistry throughout the day. The choline story adds a specific egg timing dimension that is almost never discussed. Choline is the most important nutrient in the egg yolk for purposes of liver function and metabolic health. It is what the liver uses to package and export fat, and chronic choline deficiency is directly linked to fatty liver disease and insulin resistance. The liver's ability to process and utilize choline is connected to the methylation cycle, which runs most efficiently when cortisol is at a moderate baseline rather than at its daily peak. When eggs arrive during the cortisol spike, the methylation cycle that processes choline is operating under hormonal conditions that make it slightly less efficient. When eggs arrive after the spike has begun declining, the choline from those yolks reaches a liver environment where the methylation machinery is less stressed and better positioned to put that choline to its full use. This is a subtle effect, not a dramatic one, but it adds another directional argument to the case for waiting before eating rather than eating immediately upon waking. There is also the question of what most people eat alongside eggs that undermines everything the eggs are trying to do, and the morning timing window amplifies both the positive and negative effects of whatever accompanies them. White toast with butter or jam, for example, arrives into a fasting morning stomach as pure refined starch and simple sugar, spiking blood glucose sharply, triggering an insulin surge, and creating the blood sugar crash that drives mid-morning hunger, fatigue, and the second coffee that most people treat as inevitable. But because the morning fasting state means insulin sensitivity is at its daily peak, the same blood sugar spike is handled more dramatically in the morning than it would be at any other point in the day. The circadian biology that makes the morning the best time to eat eggs and protein is simultaneously the reason it is the worst time to eat simple sugars and refined carbohydrates. The biological amplification works in both directions. Eating the right things at the right time produces a larger positive effect. Eating the wrong things at the right time produces a larger negative effect. A bowl of sweetened cereal or a glass of orange juice stripped of its fiber crashes blood sugar more dramatically in the morning because the very insulin sensitivity that would make protein utilization more efficient also makes the glucose spike from sugar more pronounced. Understanding this asymmetry reframes what breakfast actually is. It is not simply the first opportunity to eat. It is the daily moment when the body's metabolic machinery is running at its sharpest, most sensitive settings, primed by overnight fasting, calibrated by circadian biology, and ready to respond more dramatically to whatever it receives than it will at any other point in the day. Eggs in that window, with the right preparation and the right timing, are being delivered to a system that is maximally equipped to use what they contain. Coffee immediately before them, no warm water before either, refined carbohydrates alongside them, and eaten during the peak of the cortisol spike, is delivering those same eggs to a system that is actively working against the efficient processing of what they contain. The sequence that changes this does not require restructuring the morning dramatically. It requires 3 adjustments to the order of existing habits rather than the addition of new ones. Water before coffee. A gap of at least 30 to 45 minutes between waking and the first food. Eggs alongside something fibrous rather than alongside something refined. Everything else in the morning stays the same. The coffee still gets drunk, the eggs still get eaten. The difference is in when and in what order, and the biology running those adjustments is already operating every morning regardless of whether anyone is working with it or against it. One final dimension worth addressing directly, because it is the question that comes up every time this kind of morning biology is discussed. People who have been eating the same breakfast in the same sequence for years sometimes ask whether changing now, at this point in their life, will make any real difference given how long the current pattern has been running? The answer from the research is clearly yes, and the time frame for seeing changes is considerably shorter than most people expect. Measurable shifts in gut microbiome composition have been documented in as little as 3 to 4 days of consistent dietary change. That is not weeks or months. That is 3 days of different mornings producing a measurably different microbial environment in the gut. The changes in insulin sensitivity from consistently eating protein and fiber at breakfast rather than sugar and refined carbohydrates begin to show up in standard blood markers within a few weeks. The muscle protein synthesis benefits from better timed leucine delivery accumulate across every session of activity and every night of recovery, meaning the improvement is not a one-time event but a compounding one. The gut does not hold a grudge about years of suboptimal morning sequences. It responds to what it receives now. The most useful way to think about all of this is not as a collection of individual rules about eggs and coffee and water and fiber, but as a single insight about the relationship between timing and biology. The morning is not a neutral period during which food is consumed and digested in a way that is roughly similar to any other time of day. It is a highly specific biological window during which the body's metabolic, hormonal, and digestive systems are running at their most sensitive settings, most ready to be influenced in either direction by what they receive. Eggs happen to be among the most nutritionally complete foods available at this particular window, delivering protein, choline, leucine, fat-soluble vitamins, and carotenoids in forms the body is well designed to use. The question is not whether to eat eggs. The question is whether they are being delivered to a system that is prepared and positioned to extract full value from them, or whether they are arriving into a disrupted, unprepared environment where a meaningful portion of what makes them valuable gets redirected, blocked, or lost before it ever reaches its intended destination. If this changed how you think about the order of what happens in your kitchen every morning, share it with someone who eats eggs every day without knowing any of this is happening. Subscribe to Your Body Decoded. Next week we go even deeper inside the biology of what your daily habits are doing to your body.